They didn't destroy you. You stepped into the same place where you've always collapsed. They just said one thing, gave you that look, pulled back their energy, and suddenly you spiraled, not because they were powerful, but because you never mapped your own traps. You didn't know that silence was your weakness. That withdrawal triggered your fear. That sarcasm activated your loop. So when they moved, you walked into your own ambush. This wasn't their win, it was your blind spot. But what if you flipped the script? What if you turned every emotional trigger into a tripwire? Not for you, but for them? In this video, you'll learn how to set traps inside the very places you used to collapse and control the battlefield from within. Part 1. Your weakness is not the problem, your blind spot is. You weren't defeated because you were weak. You were defeated because you didn't see it coming. Weakness isn't the threat. Blindness is. Because what you can see, you can prepare for. You can map. You can control. But what you can't see, you repeat. Weakness doesn't hurt you. Reaction to it does. We all have vulnerable points. The need to be understood, fear of abandonment, desire for recognition, habit of explaining too much, over-attachment to being liked. Those aren't the enemy. The enemy is not knowing they exist and letting others press them, while you react without realizing why. How blind spots get used against you. They don't say much, just enough. A pause. A sarcastic smirk, a strategic silence, a shift in tone, and suddenly, you defend, you over-explain, you chase, you lose presence, not because they're smart, but because they found a door in your system, and you didn't know it was open. Awareness is not equal to elimination. Awareness equals weaponization. You don't need to fix all your triggers. You just need to install cameras on them, so when someone gets close, you don't react. You observe. You don't step forward. You let them show their play. And when they walk into your zone, you already saw it coming. Your weakness isn't your flaw, it's your territory. And once you know where it lives, you control the battlefield. Part 2. How triggers become entry points. You don't lose control because someone overpowered you. You lose control because they entered through a door you didn't know was open. That door is your trigger, and every time you don't map it, someone else uses it to walk in. What is a trigger? A trigger is a shortcut to your vulnerability. It's a tone that makes you defensive, a pause that makes you panic, a phrase that makes you over-explain, a withdrawal that activates fear, a look that makes you collapse inward. It doesn't come from logic. It comes from emotional memory. And when triggered, you don't think, you replay. Triggers activate pre-installed code. The moment something hits, they're pulling away. They sound disappointed. They don't validate me. Your system doesn't pause to evaluate. It runs the loop. Fix it, explain it, chase it, collapse, apologize, adjust. This is unauthorized access. You didn't choose this move. The old code did. Every trigger is a security breach. Imagine this. A tone lowers. You get nervous. You try harder. You give away frame. That wasn't a conversation. That was a breach in containment. They didn't overpower you. They accessed a predefined response. From entry point to control point. Once you identify a trigger, you don't try to fight it. You flag it. You install a command. This is a high-risk zone. No emotional response is allowed here without strategic override. Now when someone touches that spot, you don't react. You run diagnostics. You log it. You slow down. You watch them. And most of the time, they reveal more than they wanted to. Power is not avoidance. Power is control under activation. You don't fear being triggered. You use triggers as sensors, as entry alarms that say, someone's trying to get in. Slow the system. Shift to observation mode. Do not execute until protocol confirms. You can't stop the trigger from showing up, but you can stop it from becoming an access point, because from now on, your reactions aren't reactions. They're monitored zones, and anyone trying to get through gets trapped instead. Part 3. Build the ambush system. 3 tactical layers. You don't destroy a weakness by pretending it's gone. You turn it into terrain you control. Every place you've collapsed before is now mapped, monitored, and mined. If they walk in, they walk into you. Here's how you build it. Layer 1. Memory trap. Map where you've been taken out before. Ask, when was the last time I lost control? What was said? What emotion took over? What decision followed that ruined clarity? Now mark it. This is a high-risk zone in my system. Every time a situation mirrors that event, you don't be strong. You activate surveillance. That memory is no longer pain. It's terrain intelligence. Layer 2. Reaction inversion. Every default behavior can be flipped. Old loop, trigger. Emotion, speak/text/explain. New protocol, trigger, pause, delay 24 hours or say nothing. Where you once overshared, now you under-respond. Chased, now you withdraw. Justified, now you observe. Collapsed, now you stay centered and cold. You don't try to feel less. You reverse the response and watch what happens. Most attackers expect your old move. When it doesn't show up, they overextend. Layer 3. Surveillance protocol. From now on, every emotional signal triggers a protocol. Log the input. Noted. Emotional pressure detected. Trace the intent. Is this a manipulation attempt or genuine connection? Deny action by default. No emotional response until processing confirms it serves strategy. This means no immediate reply, no explaining tone, no real-time defending. Silence becomes your scanner. Stillness becomes your feedback tool. They walk in, you don't move, and in their movement, you gather the data. You're not just surviving pressure. You're turning your old breakdown zones into invisible traps. The battlefield didn't move. You did. You became the ground they misread, and the moment they step too hard, you don't collapse. They do. Part 4. Turn old loops into strategic alerts. You don't need to erase your old reactions. You need to reassign them. Every loop that made you collapse now becomes a signal. Not weakness, not failure, just early detection. You feel the urge to text? Abandonment loop active. You want to explain? Frame insecurity triggered. You sense rejection. Approval reflex is online. Don't obey it. Label it. Build your internal dashboard. Trigger. Silence. Old move, over text. New command. Wait 48 hours. Say nothing. Observe everything. Trigger. Tone shift. Old move. Defend. New command. Lower energy. Fewer words. Don't explain. Trigger. Subtle rejection. Old move. Over justify. New command. End it early. Maintain posture. Hold stillness. From now on, you don't react. You reroute. Here's the truth. What feels urgent is usually just familiar. And familiar is how they get in. You don't act on feeling. You scan it. You don't respond to history. You process it. And if it doesn't serve power, it doesn't move. Delay is your override. 5 seconds of silence breaks 10 years of programming. The loop wants you fast. You stay still. It wants noise. You give it pause. It wants energy. You give it nothing. This is how you win, not by fighting your past, but by converting it. Every old pattern is now surveillance. Every emotion is now data. And every step they take, you already mapped. Part 5. Execute calm while they walk into your system. You don't need to chase. You don't need to correct. You don't even need to respond. You just need to stay still, long enough for them to reveal themselves. They expect you to react. They want noise. They want energy. They want proof they still affect you. Don't give it. Let them talk. Let them test. Let them shift tone. Let them pause and wait for you to fill the space. You don't move. You don't blink. You don't adjust. Because while they think you're frozen, you're scanning, pattern, pacing, intent, control. Every word they speak is giving you data. And when you don't interrupt them, they start interrupting themselves. Their confidence fades, their control slips, their strategy falls apart, because you didn't play the role they expected. This is how calm becomes a weapon, not loud, not fast, not dramatic, just stable, just unreadable, just present enough to make them uncomfortable. You don't win by overpowering. You win by letting them walk deeper into the space you no longer fill. They think they're moving forward. They don't realize you've already mapped the entire floor beneath them. And when they step wrong, you don't explode. You don't collapse. You just execute. Final CTA. They didn't beat you. You just kept stepping into the place where you always fall. But now, that place is mapped, marked, mined. You don't collapse there anymore. You watch, you don't react, you record. You don't fight the old loop, you set the trap inside it. And the moment someone walks in, you don't warn them, you don't save them, you don't explain, you just let it close. This is the shift. From defending your weakness to deploying it, from reacting to patterns to using them, from being predictable to becoming unreadable.